What's going on, everybody? It's GameUnboxingReviews here, and welcome back to another LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2 video. So I've been getting a lot of requests from people to do, a video where I showcase what characters I'd like to see in the game, and I'm definitely going to be doing more of these because I really enjoy making them. But today's video is going to be all about the top 5 Guardians of the Galaxy characters that I'd like to see in LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so first up on my list is Krugarr, who in the comics was Stephen Strange's apprentice, and later became his successor, earning him the title of Sorcerer Supreme. Now, like Doctor Strange, Krugarr can use many magical spells, so he'd probably have a ton of cool abilities in-game, including the ability to shoot mystical bolts, fly, plus he's also said to be highly intelligent, so I think he'd be a pretty useful character both in combat and when solving puzzles. And the design of the character is just awesome. I really want to see how TT Games would take that character and make them into a LEGO minifigure, because I'm sure he'd look amazing. Next up, we have Starhawk. Now, Stakar is an extremely powerful character, so as you can probably expect, he'd be able to do a lot of really cool things, such as super strength, allowing him to lift heavy objects and destroy cracked LEGO objects, light manipulation, allowing him to manipulate light and shoot force blasts of photonic energy and heat at his enemies, enhanced senses. I think this could be used as an alternative to Spider-Man's Spider Sense, because in LEGO Marvel Super Heroes, Spider-Man wasn't the only character that could find hidden items. Wolverine could also do it as well, so I feel like if they bring that back in LEGO Marvel 2, which I really do think they will, Starhawk will probably have that ability as well, if he gets added to the game, which I really hope he does. He could also fly, and apparently he was even super fast, so maybe they could also bring the Quicksilver abilities from LEGO Marvel's Avengers into the game and let Starhawk have those abilities as well. That would be pretty cool if you can both run super fast and fly super fast. That would be a very fun character to run around with. Up next is Major Victory himself, Vance Astro, leader and founder of the Guardians 3000. Now, Vance had the ability to project psychonetic blasts of force, which allowed him to emit destructive blasts from his forehead. So already he'd be a very powerful character in the game. But here's the thing, in the comics, he eventually learned to use his powers for so much more. He kind of started using it like telekinesis, where he could move like objects, he could create shields to defend himself, he could hover by creating these discs, and he could even use his blasts to launch himself to great distances. So I guess you could kind of see him having a super jump ability in the game like LEGO Marvel's Avengers, so that would be pretty cool. They kind of see it in the comics as not flying but almost flying, because he could launch to such great distances, but honestly I think the best way of doing that in a game would just be to give him a super jump ability. And if that's not enough, Vance also wielded the shield of Captain America. Now, he wasn't as natural with the shield as Steve Rogers, but he was still very capable at using it offensively and defensively. However, he did lack the ability to make the shield return to him like what Cap could do, but his powers did make up for that, because what he could actually do is use the shield in unison with his psychonetic blasts to move and propel the shield. So he's an extremely cool character, and I'd absolutely love to see him in this game. I think he's on a lot of people's Guardians wish list, so I really hope he makes it into the game. And here's the thing, no one besides Marvel Studios knows the fate of Steve Rogers in the MCU. I mean, we don't know whether he's going to die or retire in Infinity War, Avengers 4, or even if he'll live beyond that. Nobody knows right now, but I love the idea of Cap's shield being one day passed down to a cosmic being like Vance. I know a lot of people would like to see Bucky or Falcon or someone like that get the shield, and I'd be fine with that too, but I think it would be so cool if they introduce Vance and maybe he like picks up the shield from the battle after Infinity War. Maybe he picks up the shield and that's all that's left of that battle after Thanos. That would be an incredible thing to see on screen. And James Gunn's already said, moving forward, the plan is to really expand the cosmic side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So really, I do think we might see Vance Astro in the MCU one day. Let's hope, because he'd be a great addition to that world. Next up on my list is one of my personal favourite Guardians of the Galaxy. It is, of course, Martinex T'Naga, member of the Guardians from the 31st century. Now, Martinex is from the dwarf planet Pluto and is the sole survivor of his race. Now, what's cool about this is he could actually survive under the extremely cold conditions of his home planet, but he could also withstand extremely hot temperatures as well. Now, I'm not exactly sure how they would implement this into the game, but what I think it could work like is basically, perhaps this would make him immune to being burned and freezed by enemies and hazards. So this just allows Martinex to just walk through Lego flames without getting any damage or anything like that. That would be a pretty simple way of, you know, showcasing those abilities of that character. Now onto his powers. So Martinex was a very strong, fast, and intelligent Guardian, but one of his most known powers was the ability to blast ice beams with his left hand and blast heat rays from his right. Now, I'm not sure if TT Games could make Martinex left and right hand attacks separate buttons, but just as an example, maybe when Martinex is using his right hand to blast heat rays on fire, the game would realize this and automatically make Martinex switch to his left hand, allow him to put out the flames with his ice beams. That's just a quick way of making it so, you know, you can actually use both of his powers, his left and his right, because I think that's really cool that he has both ice and fire abilities, because they're very useful in the Lego games. Obviously, with the fire, he'd be able to burn gold Lego objects so he could collect studs, and then with the ice, he'd be able to freeze objects and put out fires. So I think he'd be a very useful and awesome character to play as in this game. And last but most certainly not least, the final character on my list is of course Adam Warlock. Everyone wants Adam Warlock in LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2. He is such a massive part of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics, and he's just such a cool character, so I'd love to see him in this game. And if you don't know who Adam Warlock is, he's basically a synthetic being created by human scientists called the Enclave to become their ideal template for a new race of humans who would one day rule the Earth. However, their creation, who at the time was called Him, rebelled, turned against them, and then went on to become the character we all know and love, Adam Warlock. So Adam had superhuman strength, was extremely fast, he could fly, project cosmic energy blasts from his hands, and was also able to spin a cocoon around himself to protect himself. So he's a very cool character already. Obviously with superhuman strength, like I said earlier, he'd be able to lift heavy objects, crack Lego objects, you know, that had cracks in them. He was extremely fast, so he'd probably be able to have super speed, he'd be able to fly, project cosmic energy, obviously he'd be able to shoot blasts and stuff like that. And the cocoon thing is very interesting. Like what I was saying about Vance Astro, how he could, you know, project a shield, maybe Adam Warlock would be able to turn into his cocoon and then that would be his shield in the game. That would be a pretty cool little feature if you ask me. Now obviously a lot of people are probably wondering, what about the Infinity Gauntlet? Well, Adam has also wielded the Infinity Gauntlet in this comics, and personally I don't mind whether he has it in the game or not. That is completely up to TT Games to decide, because it would just be really cool to see Adam Warlock in this game regardless of if he wields it or not. And also, when you've got Adam Warlock, you got to think maybe we'll see Magus as well, the evil doppelganger of Adam Warlock. We'll just have to wait and see, but I think both of them would be extremely cool additions to LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know which top 5 Guardians of the Galaxy characters you'd like to see in LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2 in the comments section below. Alright guys, so I want to thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for lots more videos on LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2 real soon. And as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.